Hey Buffies, welcome back to my channel. My name is Janaire and I am the self-proclaimed movie buff. I've got a show review for you today and it's something that I never thought that I'd be doing. We are talking about She the People by Tyler Perry on Netflix. Now, I'm going to be honest, typically his shows doesn't do it for me. I am a fan of some of his films, but the TV shows, a lot of times they're like over dramatic or too soap opera for me. But She the People, I enjoyed a lot. I got some laughs, and then I also got to see Terry J. Vaughn. She was Levita Alizé Jenkins in the Steve Harvey Show. And then also Jo Marie Payton. She was the mom from Family Matters. What caught me right away was the tone. It still has some of Tyler Perry's DNA. However, light comedy, light Black family church scenes. Like I said, you still get some of Tyler Perry's DNA, but it's not over the top and they don't beat it like a dead horse. Not the typical way that he would present his Black leading female characters. Yes, she is divorced, but it's not like it's her whole personality or finding a man is her whole personality. Now, her cousin Shamika does kind of push that particular narrative, but it's only because she's in love and she also wants her cousin to be in love as well. That's the vibe that I'm getting from it. We meet Antoinette. She is a Black woman running for the position of lieutenant governor in the state of Mississippi.
Forward to being the next lieutenant governor of our great state, Mississippi.
She's smart and she's composed, but she's also very politically correct, almost to the point where it's painful. Trying so hard to be an acceptable version of herself so she can get elected. However, her mother Cleo is very much like, you just need to be yourself. You don't have to conform to how the white people want you to behave in society in order to get this position as lieutenant governor. Her mother is always very much trying to keep it real. But of course, as she's trying to walk this tightrope of respectability as well as like keeping it real, her daughter, who is the average rebellious teenage daughter, she puts her in a position where she basically has to act out. Like she has to show her behind. And because of this, she felt like she definitely wouldn't get picked as lieutenant governor. However, this is exactly what she needed in order to win the election. A lot of people saw her actions is what they needed from somebody who was representing them. Initially, the way she was behaving, it was coming across as soft to the voters, and she just did something that like made them believe in what her campaign was and what she was doing, and they literally saw that she would fight for them. Getting elected was the easy part in my opinion. Once she is elected, that's when the real drama begins. She meets the actual governor.
I can make a difference.
You just be a good girl.
And from the jump, he's giving her a hard time. He's basically saying, you are just here to look pretty. You really don't have a job. The only way you'll have a job is if something happens to me. So ain't nothing happening to me anytime soon. So just sit here, show up to work. Basically it. He didn't want her to do anything at all.
Staff? Doesn't lieutenant governor get to choose her own staff?
In most cases, yeah.
Why not this case?
They give her busy work assignments, assignments that he really didn't want to do. He had her meeting with disgruntled constituents, having her judge a pig calling contest. It's clear that they expected her to just sit around and look pretty, but her begging for something to do, they literally was like, okay, we'll give you something to do. She got into office because she wanted to make a change and she wasn't going to lay down and take this lightly. Something that is hilarious because again, she is lieutenant governor of Mississippi, deep South Mississippi, a very red state. And as lieutenant governor, you to move into the lieutenant governor's mansion, and it literally is like a Civil War or a Confederate museum.
You can't even see the gloves because of this rug.
So there's a lot of paintings and statues of like Robert E. Lee, and there's Confederate flags posted everywhere. And the house comes with like a butler staff that they kind of joke around to. Is just like, oh, we get our own slaves with this. Funny in the way they said it, but at the same time, this ain't really funny if it was happening in real life. They also joke that the house may be haunted. We're not sure if it's haunted by the ancestors or their ancestors. They just feel like the house is haunted. I also love that the show just didn't focus on her political challenges. It also focused on her personal ones as well. Because like I said, she is divorced and she's raising two children somewhat on her own. We do have an introduction to the ex-husband. However, he was barely in it and he just really seems incompetent. And that's probably why they're divorced in the first place. They did make some statements about him cheating or whatever, but outside of him cheating, like, he's there taking up space. He's not useful at all as a secondary parent. In the midst of parenting, we do find that the rebellious teenage daughter, she's also in gymnastics. This whole dynamic or this conversation around her being in gymnastics, it really showed that communication is very much key. The daughter, she had been doing gymnastics for years and she's terrible at it. Everybody knows that she's terrible at it. She's not doing a good job at all, but her mom shows up every practice and she's cheering her on, giving her the encouragement that any mom would need to hopefully push her into being better. However, we find out that the daughter just didn't want to do gymnastics at all. And she was being bad on purpose. But it was also a thing where her mom was just showing up and cheering her on so hard. She didn't have the heart to tell her that, hey, I didn't want to do this. And her mom was just going so hard encouraging her because she was so bad at it. But if they were in a space to where they were comfortable enough to have this conversation, then she could have saved money on putting her into gymnastics because she never was going to be an Olympian, not at this rate. Meanwhile, there's this whole back and forth with Michael, the driver, and Antoinette. There's definitely chemistry between the two of them, and it started very early. However, it's like he works for her. They can't be like a real relationship. Interactions are very awkward. It's very high school in the way that they do it, but it's just you can tell that they both like each other. No one wants to make the first move. However, there is a scene where he saves like this jam or this preservative for her, and there was a note attached to it. There was a misunderstanding with the note, but because of that note, she fired him because, in her eyes, back to respectability, it would be improper for her to date her driver. Come to find out, he did not write the note, and it's already kind of too late. She fired him, but he was like, it's okay that you fired me because now that I'm working on a different detail, it's not a bad thing if we were to explore dating. Back at the office, Antoinette, she's starting to get her footing. She's starting to get a little bit more comfortable in her role, trying to find what the issues are and how to solve them. The governor puts up another block of course. He has her talk to the pastors of the community, the black pastors of the community, and they're discussing this pipeline that's going to go through an elderly community that is mostly black people and is going to displace a lot of them. And he didn't want to have that conversation, of course. So he sent her in unprepared. And this is where she's really getting tired of what the governor is doing, just setting her up for failure. He also had conversations with senators that basically told her she wasn't doing a good job. She didn't know what her job entailed.
Have you looked at the power that you have here?
And they also told her that there are things that she could do. She can hire her own staff. She could even decorate. And this is what puts like a fire in her belly. She's just like, okay, I thought I was doing a good job. I thought I was trying, but obviously I wasn't trying hard enough. I was just letting these people play with me. And that's when she decided she's going to hire her own staff. She's not going to let these people play with her anymore. And that's where stuff kind of gets a little sticky in the governor's office. At a press conference, they're talking about the pipeline, and the governor is just like, hey, my lieutenant governor, she's on board. And that's where she really reveals that, hey, she's not on board with the pipeline. And she puts up her version of how to make everyone happy during the situation. And they kind of have their on camera battle back and forth, which causes the governor to say, hey, you embarrassed me, and we can't work like this. But she also gets that moment to where she can stand up for herself and basically say, you've been disrespecting me since I got here. You haven't been taking me seriously. And this is how we're going to move going forward. And because of this conversation, it goes kind of back to the beginning to where the lieutenant governor was telling her what her role is. And her role was basically to step in if anything ever happens to him, and kind of leave off with season one. Well, season one, part one. It does leave off on a cliffhanger. Um, I would rather you guys just to watch it to see exactly what happened, but it was very predictable. One of my favorite characters that I didn't really talk about is Basil. He is Shamika's boyfriend. He's like the comedic relief, and he is very colorful. He was employed as Antoinette's driver for some point in the series, but he's just not great at the job, just to be honest. But he's really, really funny, and I like him as a character. I also love Shamika as well because even though she's her cousin, like she has her back 1010%. they have like their normal cousin moments, and they get back together. I also love how Antoinette, even though she is on some respectability, we also get to see that she is human. She has a past. She also isn't as timid as she tries to portray herself to be in order to fit in. Like, I feel like she needs to keep using her fire in order to get stuff done, because you can't get anything done sitting back being cute, yes sir, no ma'am type thing. Overall, I give season 1 part 1 a 4.5 out of 5 stars. There are some moments, like I said, that just screams Tyler Perry universe, and I mean, you are a director, you have to have your directing style. It's just certain parts of it scream to me that Tyler Perry did it. That's the only reason why I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. But I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait until part 2 of season 1 comes out. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know if you are going to be watching She the People. If you haven't seen She the People, will you be watching it because of this review? Let me know your favorite characters and your thoughts overall on the show. Come back next week because I am going to have the opportunity to an advanced screening of Ballerina. It is a spinoff of the John Wick universe. So definitely stay tuned for that. I'm so excited. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and come back next week. Yeah, I really enjoy doing these videos. Just let me know what you want to see, and I'll be back. Bye.